Good morning, class. Again, I hope everyone is healthy, safe during this COVID-19 health pandemic. I wanted to reach out to you students today to basically, or I shouldn't say basically, but just to say thanks for those of you who have participated in this remote learning modality, which no doubt has been challenging after attending lectures, being able to discuss things with your professor, taking notes, engaging with other peers about the class, concepts, different curriculum related things. Again, I do appreciate your stick to itiveness. Of course, this has not been easy for myself. As an instructor, I've had to change or shape in a complete different paradigm of how I do business. And so it's been opportunistic. Let's put it that way. I believe that we'll all be better for this next semester as we move into the fall and remote learning. And we've all been able to bring about a study routine, a study regimen, a study commitment that's necessary to continue our goals, to continue our dream of bachelor's degree, associate's degree, master's degree, doctorate degrees. And this is the first step. But moving into this week, what I want to briefly just discuss is that I've changed the syllabus just a little bit. And you'll notice here on the page, you'll see the book. One of the key elements of any course is that there's going to be a set of student learning outcomes that students are supposed to know. And by virtue of that, my last syllabus that I put together did not incorporate fiscal policy. And fiscal policy is pretty much fiscal policy is the bread and butter of economic theory. That is to say, as we study macroeconomic concepts and the economy as it operates, again, we would not be where we are, shall I say, we being individuals that have, most of you may have gotten the stimulus check that was Congress approved. Some of you may be have received a check from the college to help you to get through these COVID-19 times. Others of you, have received financial aid. All of these things are an aspect of fiscal policy. You'll notice here in this flow here, identify and explain the differences between fiscal and monetary policy, and identify the tools used to stabilize, increase, or decrease economic activity and the flow of money in the economy. So we've looked at the aspect that the economy is stabilized in large part in a democratic society by virtue of government actions. However, now we're pinpointing specific elements, that is, specific tools and or arrangements within our economic system by in which the government can use these are tools to stabilize, increase, and decrease economic activity. So fiscal policy, of course, as you will find out when you read chapter 13 next week, is really that aspect that says, okay, the government is responsible for taking in taxes, as we all will pay taxes at some point. If you haven't yet in your life, you will pay taxes. And by virtue of those taxes, then that money is spent on economic activity. That money is then transferred back to the society in various ways, from the standpoint of education, transportation, national defense. Moreover, what we might call economic stabilizers or income stabilizers, such as tax rebates, those types of things. So it is a mechanism that the government has that allows for the redistribution of monies within our economy. On the other hand, monetary policy is that piece that you will also see in Chapter 15, where there is what we call the Federal Reserve Bank. And the Federal Reserve Bank is responsible for growing the economy, number one. Two, if possible, making sure that the unemployment rate is as low as possible. And then I'll talk more about that in terms of unemployment rate and it being low, because, of course, if the monetary policy is to grow the economy, then inherently there's going to be some unemployment because the economy is going to thrive in certain areas and not thrive in other areas. Yet, let me stay on the course. So, grow the economy, ensure that the unemployment rate is low as possible, and moreover, keep the price rate or the prices constant. That is, that there's not a significant spike in prices. Now, if you look at what's going on with fiscal policy today, so a lot of us receive stimulus checks, right? The goal there would be to stabilize the economy. On the other hand, of course, unemployment is not the lowest, and obviously it's by product of COVID. But yet, the key link that fiscal policy in some cases has with monetary policy, which is somewhat competing, is the fact that prices are not constant. Prices have continued to rise. However, I do like the fact that gas prices have decreased a bit. That's a fun piece, right? If you drive, you notice that the gas prices now for premium, I use premium in my car, about 327. When right before COVID-19, we were approaching 425, $4.30 for a gallon of gas if you use premium. So at any rate, the point I want to make is that sometimes the actions of the government in terms of fiscal policy may have a regressive effect on monetary policy or vice versa. If the Federal Reserve Bank lowers interest rates, let's say to increase economic activity, then fiscal policy may be marred by that to the degree that if there's just ton of money in the economy, then the government, may then have the imbalances within its budget parameters. And moreover, in terms of its ability to borrow and or sell treasury bills, those types of things. So the point I want to make, and I digress a bit because I haven't lectured in over 5 weeks, right, is that these four student learning outcomes for our class is something that on a normal circumstance I would assess. However, this year I'm not doing assessments for Economics 101, but I want to point you to these because there's a critical piece in your term project that talks about fiscal and monetary policy graphs. And that's what you want to be mindful of as you prepare and continue to complete your research papers. So there are certain graphs that you're going to see in the chapters related to fiscal and monetary policy. You want to make sure that you have at least one graph from each chapter in your paper. Now, of course, your professor doesn't mean that I just want you to put a graph in and say, there you go, profit. There's your graph. Well, remember, you have to also indicate why the graph is there. What is the importance? How does it relate to your country in this case? Of course, there's some APA attribution items that you will have to adhere to, and you'll notice over the past couple of weeks, I've continued to place resources in Canvas that are related to APA. The only other thing that I want to mention here as we look at the syllabus, or if you watch this screencast-o-matic, is I may make some slight tweaks to this syllabus scoring matrix here, because you'll notice we did not do, after the first week or so, second week of discussion boards for participation, a lot of my students were actually not completing those discussion boards. And so I took the liberty to stop assigning them because I didn't want students that weren't doing well in the class to continue to have this downward slide in terms of grade um, earnings because if they weren't able to maybe do the lecture participation attendance. And so I believe there's going to be like a change there where I only believe I gave 10 points. So that will be something that I will change. Okay. And of course, you students will be able to view your overall score within Canvas in the grade spreadsheet. And then the last thing that I want to mention is, of course, remember now, the term projects are due by next Tuesday. Should I say June 9th, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, by 9:35 a.m. So it's very important that you establish a plan for ensuring that you get your paper in on time. I do not accept them late. To me, this is like a person coming to work and bringing, or should I say, wanting to work for my company and bringing in an application. And I send out news, and you hear, oh, there's a consulting firm that says that, they're looking for interns for college students, but you must have your resume in by 9:35. And in this case, if you came to the office, my receptionist would say, "Up, 9:36. You have to. Sorry, we can't take your resume." So this is really important for me, as a professor of economics and accounting, and moreover a professional, that students are mindful of the fact that you won't always be able to get a second chance on things in life. Sometimes you have to seize that first opportunity and do the best that you can with that opportunity. So 9:35. And then going back over to the module for this week, you'll notice that we are in week 14. And so fundamentally, I just pulled down the syllabus, which I have changed. So I will make a slight change to the syllabus, which you've just viewed today. And then, of course, I have rerun the PowerPoints for chapter 10, 11, and 12. I've also included the APA term project template. You can use this if you want. I've also indicated that the exam is going to be due by next Monday. Again, I won't deploy the exam until Wednesday of this week. So if you go into my econ lab, you won't be able to see the exam yet. My thought is that you will take the time to further read, further do the lecture interactives on chapter 12, which is what was assigned last week, and do some reviewing on 10 and 11 so that you're prepared. The exam will be deployed Wednesday, and you'll have from Wednesday until next Monday, June 1st. And remember, the exam will take you 2.5 hours, or shall I say, I'm going to allot 2.5 hours for the exam. And you have to do it in a one-time sit down. So you won't be able to leave the computer, nor will you be able to leave the browser that you're within. I know as a online learner, almost finished with my doctorate degree. There may be times where you want to do some reviewing or research during your exam, but you're going to have another computer available to you because you won't be able to leave the browser from the main exam screen. Of course, there's some resources here for the term project. And then it would really, really be helpful if you students would take the time to earn these 5 extra credit points to do the extra credit survey. And this survey is I've created as an indirect assessment in terms of how well you're doing during these COVID-19 times. Okay. And once again, I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for, if you watched this video, hopefully it was helpful. And moving forward, stay safe, continue to practice social distancing, and best success in the weeks to come.